business tips to successfully start and run your business so your business doesn't run you. And more importantly, we provide personal development tools to create a better version of yourself to provide the solid foundation for your life and business to stand upon. This is the Biz Reveal, and I'm your host, Craig Sawyer. This week's episode is sponsored by Sawyer Health Solutions. Protecting what's important to you is what's important to us. Get your free health insurance quote at SawyerHealthSolutions.com. Bringing her insight in business branding, Naomi Hyett explains how you can build a business brand that will actually help people in the right way. Naomi understands that building a brand is more than having millions of followers on social media, but that discovering and sharing your business personality and true purpose is the way to attract your dream clients. This is the Biz Reveal podcast with this week's guest, Naomi Hyett.
So my name is Naomi. I run a business called Expert Unleashed, and it is brand strategy and also coaching focused. So we help service-based business owners to build their brand with confidence that attracts their dream clients and creates lasting impact.
Okay. Short and simple. I like that. So when it comes to branding, and I've had a couple of shows where we're talking about, marketing, social media marketing, and all the digital marketing things, everything kind of comes back to branding. So branding should be first. So I guess just give an explanation of what branding actually is for a company.
So I'm probably going to get hated for this, but so there's lots of different variations, and a lot of people say, oh, branding's visual, blah, blah, blah. And it is, branding to a degree is part of your visual brand. However, your brand is you ultimately, and how you come across in your business is extremely important. And I don't think people really understand that truly. And it's all about your message. It's about your voice. It's about your values. And it's about everything that you physically stand for and everything you are. So it's just branding is you.
So it's just kind of like the personality of the company.
Yeah.
Okay. So how is that different from like just regular marketing? Is marketing just the way that you tell everybody what your brand is?
Yeah, I guess so. Marketing and branding, they are tarred with the same brush. But when it comes to marketing, you do market yourself differently because you have all these different techniques and strategies and all these wonderful things that you trial and test for your own business. But ultimately, your brand and your core message should always stay the same. That should never, ever differ, but your marketing can. So you can always change tactics and different strategies. You can do lots of different things, lots of different platforms that you can be on. So all of that can change, but your brand and what you stand for and your core values should never change.
Okay. All right. And when trying to determine, because this is one of those questions that I've worked with other people on, and this can differ from industry to industry as well. I know we're trying to generalize everything for all groups here, but when you are trying to figure out who you are as a company, like what is your core value? Who are you? Why should somebody choose your company or your product or your service over all the other ones that are available out there? What is the process in finding yourself as a brand, like who you really are? What process should somebody go through to find that out?
So in terms of finding out your values, the best thing to do really is to think about a time where you were successful and what actually happened during that process. Like what did you go through? How did you feel? What happened around you? What was your environment like? All of these different things. And then start to pick out things that you notice. I felt happy. I felt, I was smiling. I was actually fully dressed for the day.
That's something new these days, right?
Exactly. It could be any number of different things. So pick out these different things. I was structured. I was planned. All these different things will start to crop up. And then also do the same thing for when you've had a failure, and figure out, okay, well, what happened? What was missing from the successful moment versus the failure moment? And then that should actually show you what your true values are, what works for you and what you stand for. It's a great base point to start with, because then you can go, okay, so for example, the happiness thing, I was extremely happy when I was successful. When I was a failure, when I failed on that particular thing, I was really sad.
Sure.
So, you know, happiness could be an actual value with somebody. Somebody needs to have happiness. And probably listening back to this, probably think, well, everyone needs to be happy. It's not always true. It's not always someone's actual core value. It's not, everyone wants to be happy, of course, but your core value is like, these things need to be ticked. My boxes need to be ticked in order for me to have a relationship with somebody else, work with someone else. If my client comes to me and they don't tick my core values and don't align with that, I'm not interested. And that's kind of where you have to get to and draw that line.
Are there certain questions that help guide you through that process? Like, like obviously, what was making me happy? I know that you kind of mentioned that, but as far as guiding you to that ultimate brand of who the company itself really is down at the core and what we can bring to the marketplace or bring to the consumer, this is us. Are there questions that we can ask? Like, because I know some of the things are like, the type of font that you use even in your logo, or the colors that you use, or the general feeling that's in a commercial or something like that. How does one really narrow that down? Are there any questions that can be asked to be able to narrow that down, to be able to get to the core value of the company and what we have to offer?
Yeah, I mean, I do actually have a training on this, and it's like part of what I do, and it's like so intense, and it takes a long time to go through it, and there's grids and all sorts of different things you have to go through.
Can you give some examples of some of the things that might be on that? Just one or two maybe.
But I've got something that I do want to share, actually. I've literally just found it. And it just goes through a few steps in terms of like what you need to do to understand what your core values are, which determines what your personal brand is really and how you can build on that. So the first thing you need to do is kind of be clear on who you are. And this sounds quite generic, but you need to figure out like who you are. Like, you know who you are, but you need to do some serious home truths and actually talk to yourself internally and have a serious conversation with yourself and figure out who you are as a person. And this can just start by going, okay, well, what do I like and dislike about business? How do I want my business to run? What kind of clients do I want to work with? Does this client come to me and they're quite stern, or they're quite strict, or are they quite loose and free? And what kind of person do you want to work with? And that will determine again who you are as well, because you attract what you want to attract into your life. So trying to figure out all these different types of things. But the biggest thing, I guess, the question you can ask is, what is your superpower? Like, what do you personally think is your superpower? Now, this can take a little bit of time to actually figure out, because people go for the generic stuff straight away. Instantly people go, oh, well, my superpower is being confident. Yeah. Right. And it's like, great. Being confident is awesome, but there's got to be more to it than that. And just doing a little bit more digging on that. And if you really want to, you can ask friends and family. Just say to them, like, honestly, what's your opinion of me? What would you say my superpower is? What would you say is the one thing that makes me stand out? If you had to describe me in one word to someone, like, what would that be? And that will help you figure out what your superpower is. And when I was doing this myself, I was doing this for my own personal brand when I first started. It all boiled down to me I guess my superpower is just saying it how it is. And again, that's quite a generic thing to say, but you got to own it, because everyone's like, yeah, but I sound the same as everybody else. Yeah, but that in your own way, that is still you. And in terms of what my superpower is, just saying it how it is, there's I'm not going to swear, but there's no fluff. I tell the truth, whether they want to hear it or not. In some cases, that's a bad thing to some people, but that's me. And I wouldn't change that, because that's what's got me where I am today.
Yeah, and people come to respect that kind of thing, because they know they're not going to get just something sugar-coated and give, yes, you're a great person, we love you, because generally that's what we do as people, right? Because we don't intentionally very often, most of us don't set out to hurt each other. We set out to just keep things on an even keel. So a lot of times they're sugar coated. And to your point, yep, you can ask friends and family, but again, friends and family, they don't want to hurt your feelings. Like if I ask somebody, hey, mom, hey, watch an episode of my podcast and tell me what you think. She's not going to be like, oh, that was horrible. You're a horrible interviewer, and the lighting sucks and the audio is horrendous. Generally, they're not going to do that, right? Because they love you and they want you to feel good. So maybe your customers would be, like get a testimonial. And sometimes what I've learned is just the negative things. Like if you have a comment card or something like that where somebody can say, how was your service? And, rate us 1 to 5. And if it's a 1, please explain, something like that, and get the negatives, because that gives you opportunity to grow. But it also can tell you what your superpower is if there's some 5s in there and there's a trend on where those 5s are at. So maybe that could help somebody figure out what their superpower is.
Yeah, definitely. I think the friends and family thing is more of like a base point. So if you don't have any clients, and if you are just starting out and this is completely new, then asking clients might not be an option. So it's always good to, even acquaintances, even someone that you don't know that well, they're probably more likely to give you a more honest answer and saying, well, this, that, and the other. Your mum, your dad might turn around to you and say, oh, well, you're so super kind. And that's not really the truth. Because when your parents tell you that you're such a lovely person,
right,
your parents should say that.
If they're a good parent.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
If your parents haven't told you that, we might have a phone number after the show that we can provide for you.
But it's true. And it's, it's just doing your research, because honestly, your personal brand, it sounds so simple, but it's really not. And it's such a journey that you have to go on of self-discovery, and it's not a quick thing. You can't just wake up one day and go, I am this. It doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, you do have to do the work and you have to figure it out. And a lot of clients that we work with, they come to us saying, well, they figured out I figured out my personal brand. I know what I am, this, that, and the other. And they come to me with a load of like scripted wording that they've picked up from somebody else. But then you dig into the core values of that person through guided coaching, and it's like, that's not you at all. But they've tried to fit in with the mold. They've tried to go with something that they think works. And that's, at the end of the day, that's fine, because everyone's starting from somewhere. But ultimately trying to figure out who you are and what you stand for is a long journey of self-discovery that you have to be intuitive with, and kind of listen to yourself a bit more and just be okay with that. Like, own what you are and go with it. The most successful people in business are seriously super authentic. There's nothing about them that they've covered up. They are just them. And obviously, like, if you look at, we go for celebrities, for example, the ones that stand out the most, and the one that springs to mind the most right now, is Cardi B. We all know Cardi B, right?
Right.
You either love her or you hate her, but she's her. She's so authentically her and true to her own values. She doesn't care if you like her or if you hate her. Obviously, she prefers it if you like her, but also if you hate her, it gives her great press as well, because it gets her out there more. But the point is, she's herself. She doesn't put on a show for anybody else. She just goes through life. She does what she does, and she doesn't care what anybody else thinks about her, because why should she change for what everybody else's opinions are like?
And that does kind of become a brand, because when you said Cardi B, Madonna came to my mind, right? And maybe I'm a little older than you are, but I was a product of the 80s, and Madonna was the same way. She was very out there, very outspoken. She did whatever she wanted to. Now, some of that stuff was intentionally, right? Because indie press is good press. So sometimes she would set out to do something a little shocking, but maybe that was part of her brand. That was part of the Madonna brand, because, when you're a celebrity, you are the company, you're the brand. And you're not, putting the name of a company or a business out there. Your name is your brand. It's you. It's the same way with me as a health insurance agent. I'm selling me, not the products they offer, because they can get health insurance from anywhere. But why should they choose me as an agent over the other thousands of agents that are out there? What sets me apart? And that is finding your superpower. And sometimes your superpower, it can be as simple as, I just asked a lot of questions about how they are, as a person, not as a customer, right? So sometimes your brand can be fairly simple. When you find that brand, when you finally figure it out, because like you said, that is the hardest part, because you do have to do some soul searching as an individual. And then you also have to do some soul searching as a company. What's the soul of the company itself? Once you find the brand, what's next? What do you do then?
So once you've figured your brand out, you then need to make sure that your dream client is aligned with what you stand for, because they do go hand in hand, figuring out what your message is and also who your dream client is. And I'm not talking, I think when people think, oh, I must know my dream client down to the T, everything they eat for breakfast. And I know you don't need to know them that well. You just need to know who they are, where they hang out, what their problems are. But when it comes to the problems and them as a person, that's where you need to get involved a bit more. You need to really delve in deep into what their goals are. What are their aspirations? Who are they striving to be? What are their values? Everything about them in terms of problems. You don't need to know, what house they live in and stuff like that, unless it's relevant to your industry. If you need to know, well, I need to target people with these types of houses because you're in property for what, doing whatever, then obviously that's fine. Do that. But in terms of actually reaching your audience, when it comes to your marketing, you need to know what their problems are so that you can solve them. You need to understand, how do you actually reach these people, and how do you attract them? How do you make them curious about what you're doing? How do you make them go, how did they know that was me? How did they know that that's me? They're talking about me. How did they know that? That's what you want. So you need to figure out your dream client in that respect, and then also make sure you've got a banging offer. Because if if your offer sucks, then you might as well, it just needs fine tuning. That's it. Like, everybody in business has a skill that they're trying to sell, right? Doesn't matter if you're working for another company, in a franchise, MLM, whatever. You all have a skill that you're trying to push out there. You're trying to push something, whether it's you as a person or a product. So it doesn't matter, but it's how you package that. Nobody cares. Like, for example, MLM companies, people that sell like health products, beauty products, such as Herbalife, Arbonne, those types of companies, they're all the same, right? They all have a product. But what really sells it is you as a person and how you sell that. Some people do lots of different offers. They put things together and they package it up. But the ones that I see do really well are the ones that are there in it every single day, using them, being active, talking to their audience. Ladies, do you have this problem? I suffer with this on my skin. And do you know what I mean? Like, getting involved with it and actually showing up and being them and being lively about it and being authentic with it.
I like that you said being them. Like, you're putting yourself in their shoes. I am one of you. I have the same problem that you have. Here's how I've solved it.
Exactly. And that's also another marketing tactic. But in terms of using it as like flipping the testimonial almost, when it comes to your marketing and how you actually show credibility. So you obviously have testimonials and proof. Going a bit off tangent, but we'll carry on. And but flipping it on its head. So if you are your own testimonial, you've used the product, you've done it for yourself, you've helped yourself to scale to £100,000 in 3 months, or you've helped yourself to lose 8 kilograms by using this program, then stuff like that also really works.
So if you have, say, like I have an e-commerce coffee company, and coffee is everywhere, right? I mean, I don't even know what the percentage is. I probably should know this one since I own a company with it, but what percentage of people drink coffee? It's everywhere. You go to your local grocery store, they got aisles full of this stuff. What sets me apart with the coffee that I offer compared to the coffee that's in the store? They can just jump in the car and go over there. One of the things is free delivery, stuff like that. So when you say have an offer, does that necessarily mean like a coupon type offer or a package deal, or is it an offer meaning just basically putting out there why, like basically a statement of why they should use you over others?
So let me just plug my charger in first of all.
No worries.
I don't want to die halfway through. Okay. So in terms of the offer, you need to make sure that your offer is a no-brainer. That's all it comes down to. Like, how can you package your offer so that it stands out over somebody else? Your competitor is who you're looking at. How can you make your offer look better than theirs? And I don't mean discounts. You can if you want to, but normally what we do is we do something called offer stacking. So in order to actually make your offer, your signature offer, a no-brainer to someone with insane value, what can you add on top that's included in the price in a simple way to explain that? So you've got coffee. Okay. Maybe it comes in a sachet. So what else could you give? I'm going to give a free cup. I'm perhaps going to give, some biscuits to go with it. I'm going to give a coffee making recipe, or if you really want to go to town, you can give them a little, what are they called? Cafeteria things.
Oh, like the carafe. Yeah.
Yeah. The compressor things that you get, the little handheld machines, or something to do with, an actual set, or maybe you have like a community that you want them to join that also goes into like the coffee community, and you all come together and you have like morning meetings on a Saturday or something, and you have a little get together, and then it's like, oh, actually, I'm not just buying a packet of coffee. I'm now involved in this community, and they've got recipes, and I get to meet new people and do all this, that, and the other, and it becomes a thing.
It's a community.
And it's
now.
like, I need to buy from this person because I want to be in on that. I've not seen that done by anyone before. The most I get is Starbucks. I get to go to my local Starbucks and, mingle with strangers, which is great, but I don't see them again. And, it's kind of like, how can you make your offer so irresistible that it makes them go, I need to be a part of this because I just love it.
And I think that in itself is your brand. Like, I think that was the branding right there. And I thank you for that example, because I like that you said that, you can actually be part of a group. Say, you do have an invitation. Hey, be part of this Facebook group, or be part of it. We meet on Saturdays at, X, Y, and Z. If you're a local company, and they can actually meet each other. Everybody likes being around like-minded people, right? People that think just like they do, because that validifies who you are as a person. Hey, other people are just like me, right? So I like that, because that actually itself can be your brand. That is who you are as a company. Not only are we offering you a product, we're offering you the feeling of belonging to something that's bigger than just yourself, or bigger than just the cup of coffee that you're drinking. Now you're part of this group, a part of a community. So I think that in itself is a brand. So it's kind of cool that you just popped up with that on the top of your head there. Digital marketing, of course, is how you get the word out, right? I mean, it used to be the yellow pages. You'd have a nice little ad in there, and this is going way back. And then you newspaper ads, maybe magazine ads, things like that. Everything now is in the palm of your hand on the smartphone, or tablet and things like that. So as far as getting the word out there, because you can have all the best products or the best services on the planet, but if nobody knows about it, it's not going to help anybody. So what are some of the current trends in digital marketing for a company to take advantage of to get the word out?
Wow. There's so many things.
We've got time.
There's a lot of crazes going on right now. I think people are going crazy over Clubhouse now. Unfortunately, this is where I separate myself. I'm an Android member.
Me too, I wanted to be part of that Clubhouse thing, but I'm Android man all the way, man. I can't do it. Yeah.
So unfortunately, as Android users don't get to use Clubhouse, but that's okay. I've heard a lot of people actually generating quite a lot of money using Clubhouse. And again, it all comes down to authenticity. And I think people forget this. What you see on social media isn't always, I would probably say, is about 10 to 15% of what their lives are actually like. And out of that 10 to 15%, some people, maybe 5% of them, are genuinely authentic with what they post. And Instagram, don't even get me started. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of issues with women looking at these pictures of other women that have edited themselves and all these different types of things. And, it goes into a whole spiral of like low self-esteem and all these different things. And I just think you have to really remember that everything that you see, you have to take with a pinch of salt, because it is not always real. That I've seen some horrendously edited pictures that just didn't look anything like what they started like at all. The color saturation is completely different. In one image they've got clear blue skies, the original's rainy and cloudy.
Yeah, the technology with photoshopping things kind of.
Yeah,
well, I don't know if you've seen the app. There's an app. I think it's like Reface or something like that, where
yes,
it's like the celebrity, and it's fun to play with. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got a lot of pictures saved on my phone, because I'm like, oh, that's what I look like if I was Sylvester Stallone, right? Because who doesn't want to have that body? But yeah, because of technology, you can put out some very misleading things. So please go into the authenticity part. How do you portray authenticity? Because that's what's going to be longevity in the long run, right? That's what's going to last, because authenticity never goes out of style. So how do you portray that in that big field of fakeness? How can you be the person that's not fake and get people to actually know that?
So there's a few different things you can do in terms of like boosting your posts and things like that. But obviously it's for example, with Instagram, it's finding the relevant hashtags, and you have to stick at it. And this is, again, the thing what people get deterred from, is that it takes time. You aren't going to just, again, magically wake up with 1 million followers. It doesn't happen that way. You have to keep posting consistently and showing up every single day and posting what you want to post about, but also remembering that you're posting for people. You're not just posting it for yourself to reflect upon. If you're growing a business, it should always be about the dream client. It should never be about just you and just going, oh, well, I do this and I do that. Like it's great to hear. It's great. You've got these achievements and things like that. That's great. But every single day, people don't really want to hear about that every single day. They want to know, well, what can you do for me?
Accidents happen. People get sick. Some expenses are obvious, but some, well, we don't always think about until it's too late. The right health insurance plan can make the difference between discomfort and disaster. You need a plan that isn't only affordable, but customizable, so you only pay for what you need, and the peace of mind in knowing that it's there when you need it most. Sawyer Health Solutions. Call today at 239-677-9877 or go online at sawyerhealthsolutions.com.
How can you help me? What can I do? What motivation can you give me? How can you show up for me? And ultimately, that's what it is. And I think people forget that. They think, well, I just want to be myself and just post what I want to post. And that's fine. But it's not going to get you anywhere quickly. It will take a longer time. You got to make sure that all the content that you're producing, whether it's on physical social media, whether it's on emails, whether it's on your website, it's all to do with the dream client and how you can help them. And
I've seen, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I've seen a lot of people do, because there should be a mixture. You want to be a person on there as well to give yourself personality, or even if you're representing a company, depending on the type of company, of course, but you want to give the company a personality. And if you're representing the company, obviously your personality needs to match what the branding of the company is and what that was determined as, and kind of stay in that same flow. So if you're putting out the business post of how I can solve your problem, should you also be putting out posts that have nothing to do with the business and just posts about you? And here's me just being me, so you know that I'm a real person, I'm genuine, but I also do this. Does that help, hurt? Where's that fall in line?
Yeah, it's a fine line. You do have to find the right balance. And again, this comes down to your analytics and your insights, and it becomes a minefield when you actually do it properly and look into everything to do with your social media. You have to really be on it and see what happens when you post that type of content versus other types of content. And providing value for free as much as you possibly can, to the point where people are questioning, why are you giving this away for free? It's kind of where you want to get to. but without giving too much away, because at the end of the day, we all got to get paid, right?
Right.
And you got to, but at the same time, you shouldn't be scared of giving away value for free. You know, explaining how to do small, simple things like in a simple post is fantastic.
That's what draws people into you.
Exactly. And it's not about going, oh, you must have this problem, here's my promotional offer. It's not about, and again, those types of posts will probably deter people as well. So it's a fine line. You've got to do a lot of testing. But if you want to post about yourself or your family or, you know, your pet or whoever it is you want to post about, that you can do that. Of course you can, but just don't do it every day. I see a lot of, and I do this myself, I see a lot of people doing like reflections and like goal settings. For example, you know, like we've just had our first quarter of the year. So I've had a lot of people on my social media. I say a lot, it's still not high enough compared to how many there should be. But a lot of reflections of what they've achieved over the quarters. Those types of posts do amazingly well because everybody loves to celebrate what you've achieved. So in that respect, those types of posts are great. You know, they're all like, oh my God, you've done so well. And, you know, all this and the other, and people are congratulating you, and it's great. Or if you do like a personal development journey and you do a self-reflection, but also make sure that you don't, you know, you end it with saying, I can help you to do the same, for example. But doing stuff about yourself is fine. But the thing is, use stories for all the stuff you don't want to put on your posts, on your newsfeed.
Go into that. Please tell me about that, because that's one thing that's always been, there's a couple things. I'm going to ask you another question going backwards here in a second too. But before I get to that, so I don't forget, tell me what the purpose of stories are versus posts.
So stories are a fantastic way to boost your reach, because they actually appear on Instagram Explore, and also they appear obviously on your Facebook if you've got friends that are along the top anyway. But if you hashtag them, they also can be searchable. LinkedIn now have stories. YouTube have shorts as well, so you can do like short stories and also 15-second clips. But you can just basically post anything you want to engage, because stories are so easy to just scroll through. Rather than going through the news feed, it becomes a stories. It's obviously the action's different. You go down or you scroll across for your stories. So the thing I see that works the most with stories is you engage people with them by using things like polls, answering questions, and you can do little quizzes. And if you want to get really fancy, you can brand it up properly using Canva and, you know, creating a little story image background and do a little quiz, like let's ask me some questions, and they get to know you on that basis. So you can do all sorts of different things. There's loads of templates on Canva that will give you ideas for that. But you can also, this gives you the chance to show who you are in real form. I use my stories quite a lot to just show my life. You'll just see me and my partner just goofing around, doing a little dance, doing whatever, showing images of our dog, playing, going for walks, whatever, but just showing more about us and what we do. And we throw in some business in there as well, because, you know, we like to show sneak previews of what we're doing. So updating our course, our YouTube, whatever we're doing, and just showing that aspect of it. And plus they disappear, so it doesn't matter. So if you don't want to keep it, you don't have to. And that's the beauty of stories, is that you can just post something out there that you want to just share, but you don't have to keep it. And I think that's another thing as well. Like, people get really weird about the aesthetics of what their profile looks like. So it's a perfect opportunity for you to just go, I'm going to take this real bad picture, but it just is great because it shows where I am right now, my environment, but it's not Instagram worthy, or it's not, you know, it shouldn't go on my Facebook profile.
It's more real, more genuine.
Exactly. Yeah. So benefit wise, it just engages your audience more, because they can see it snapshot dead quick. And again, our attention spans have shortened these days. So it's, everybody's, I don't know if you use TikTok, but TikTok's an amazing app. It's blown up something like ridiculous, but the attention span, that's why it's so good. 15-second videos, bam, bam, bam. And that's why Reels are so popular now on Instagram. Reels have just taken off, and it's the same process, like real short 15-second, maximum 30-second video clips that you can just sit bite-sized digest. It's just constant. And you get lost in them.
Yeah, you start going down the rabbit hole, just like on YouTube, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And people want that more these days. They don't want to sit and read loads and loads of posts and loads of text. And there's a war going on at the moment, I've seen on Instagram, about captions. And people are not reading captions, they're just looking at the pictures. It's like, well, what can you expect? That's the way the humans are at the moment. They don't like to sit and consume a lot of information. It's just not how we're built.
I had a guest on a show last week, and she called it the scroll stop. And that the whole purpose is to whatever you have your post about needs to be the scroll stop, because that's what we do, right? We just scroll up and down. What is going to make them stop the scroll and look at your post? And I've seen a lot, where they'll use like just a solid background or something like that with just a question. It has like maybe 6-7 words in it, about whatever it has to do. I'm sure it's a lead gen kind of thing. Somebody responds to it, and now they know the types of people that, might be interested in what they have to offer because of the question they asked, if that person took the time out to answer the question. I want to back up a second, because one of the things I have as a topic whenever I do a show on digital marketing or social media marketing, here it comes, hashtag. All right. So in fact, I even had a conversation with somebody 2 days ago on one of the podcast apps or groups that I'm a part of on Facebook. And because somebody was asking about it, and I kind of gave them my feedback that I have learned. When it comes to hashtags, the proper way to use them. Now, the person that asked the question was asking if she should use a hashtag that is a most commonly used hashtag, like where you have, 12 million, posts or whatever that contain that hashtag, or if you should go with a hashtag that maybe only has 2,000. And I know it needs to relate, very specifically relate to your post or, what it is that you do. That is the key. But if what you choose to relate to your post has a lot of usage with that hashtag, or a little more defined usage with that hashtag, is there one way that's better than another?
The hashtags, and I'll explain why. They're just categories. The hashtags that you use, it doesn't. I get why. If a hashtag has, like, let's say 1 billion views on it, and then versus another one that's got 2,000 views, obviously you're not going to show up as much in the 2,000 views as you are in the billion. So,
but do you get lost in that billion?
The key here with those is the engagement on your post. So if you've got low engagement and low followers, you're going to get lost anyway. It does not matter what hashtags you use. The more you use, the more you will be found in different categories, because that's what a hashtag is. It categorizes your post into X, Y, Z. But in terms of your engagement, that's what boosts you. If you've got, and it's when I say it out loud, it'll become quite obvious, really. But if you've got a celebrity using the exact same hashtags as you, who's going to get the most? A celebrity that's got millions of followers, or you that's got a few thousand? Of course, the celebrity is going to get more because they get more engagement. That's all it comes down to. And when it comes down to boosting your engagement on Instagram, it can be Instagram can be extremely irritating, because there's so many people competing, trying to get their followers up, because that's all Instagram is about these days. It's just trying to build their follower base up. But really, and again, this is me for my dream clients, because I target coaches and course creators, right? So anyone that is a coach or a course creator trying to carve their path on Instagram, especially, you've just got to make sure that your research is right with the hashtags, and make sure you are categorizing yourself in the right hashtags. And what I find works is placing yourself in your dream clients' hashtags, not necessarily the ones that resonate with your post. So at the end of the day, you're just putting yourself in somebody else's search bucket, and you're just going, I want to be found in this. And it depends. You have to do a lot of trial and there is no one way does it all with Instagram. Even though there's so many gurus out there, that will tell you, this is how you do it on Instagram. I've done them all. Not all of them, I'd be in serious amount of debt.
Right.
There's a lot of, Instagram gurus that tell you how to do it and to build it. And it all comes down to being authentic. It all comes down to being consistent with your posting, making sure that you are engaging with your content and not boring and talking about yourself all the time, and being a little bit different, and just by being you.
Can you overuse the same hashtag? For example, whenever I have a post for, marketing a new episode of the podcast, and I go to my, Biz Reveal Facebook and I put a post out there, I will always have hashtag the Biz Reveal on every single post that I do, because I want, anytime they click on that hashtag, the Biz Reveal, which of course nobody else is going to be using but me, right? So it's only going to be showing up the things that I've posted that had that hashtag on there. But if I use that hashtag too much, can that hurt me, or is that okay?
It won't hurt you at all.
Okay.
And this is the thing with a hashtag, you've got to think of it as just a category. That is literally all it is. You are putting that post into a category. So if you were, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation on a forum, or don't know if you've ever used Slack before, but you can have like apps that have different topics, and they're normally hashtagged. And then when you click on the topic, which is a hashtag, it will bring up all the posts that have been hashtagged with that particular topic. So you think of it that way, like you're just looking for the information, going, well, that hashtag sounds like what I want to learn about, so I'm going to go in there and learn about that one. Or it could be about, because a lot of people on Instagram, really, the way that they use it, they just use it on their newsfeed. They're not really going into the explore option and going to hashtags and finding the hashtag. No normal person does that. They just go onto Instagram and just scroll.
Right.
That's all they do. So people follow particular hashtags on Instagram because they want to be caught up with what's going on. So it's about figuring out, well, which categories can I be involved in that people are going to follow? And it's honestly, it's like I said, it's such a minefield. And I'm not an Instagram guru by any means. I'm not an Instagram trainer. I don't do this. But in terms of social media and the aspects of it, you have to remember who is using it and how they're using it.
Yeah, because you have to cater to that. Otherwise, you're not going to get in front of them. Now, you mentioned that, with you not being the guru and you haven't done everything on Instagram because you'd be broke. That brings another point. When it comes to the pay to play stuff, why isn't organic marketing enough? Why does somebody have to pay for, paid ads and things like that on Facebook?
Simply because they want you to. That's it. That's
Okay.
the key. That's what it boils down to. Obviously, Facebook own Facebook and Instagram now. I think WhatsApp as well.
YouTube.
Yeah. Do they?
Yeah. That's why I was told that if anything that you have on Facebook, part of the whole digital marketing thing is, and I've made this mistake, and I still do, but at least now I'm making the mistake knowingly as opposed to unknowingly. I'd put a link in my post, to direct them to, the YouTube video. And that you don't ever want to put a link in the post itself, because Facebook gets paid by advertisers. And the more people that stay on Facebook, the more money Facebook is going to make from those advertisers. So they want you to stay there. So don't link anything to pull them away from it. However, if you're going to, it better be with another company that Facebook owns, right? And they do own YouTube. So it's okay to do that, but it still works the same way. They don't want you doing that. So I was told by another digital marketing person on the podcast to, say something like, find the links below in the comment section, and you put the links down there so it doesn't show up in the post. But that's why I asked that is, you don't want to leave there, but you kind of have to pay for certain things if you want it to go outside of your immediate circle. Yeah.
So with advertising, Facebook business pages, you might as well not bother anymore unless you're paying for them, which is, it's a kind of, it was the rage at one point, but now it's just there. It doesn't really do much anymore.
What do you mean, like your business profile page?
Your actual business page, yeah. So you have to pay for that to be seen, really. I think it shows to like 1%, maybe 3% max of your audience. So you'll be very lucky if you see a business page newsfeed post.
Okay.
And I know that they now have their own newsfeed section as well. So it's completely separate to Facebook normal profile news feeds. So it's completely separated. So it's purely there for advertising purposes only, really. And obviously as a forefront of your business, if you wanted to show that, then you can. But in terms of advertising, you can only get so far. Organic, when it comes to generating leads, when it comes to putting yourself out there, you can only get so far. But what you need to use organic for is the testing. You need to test your content organically first before scaling it with paid ads.
To see who is responding to those posts, so you know how to direct your paid stuff in a more narrow way. So now you know, let's say, so for free, you're kind of testing the waters a little bit of like, okay, I'm going to try this out. I don't want to spend money trying it, because if it fails, I don't want to be out that money. So now you're finding out what's going to actually work, what type of person's responding to it. And then when you find that out, now you can go to the paid ads and narrow down your demographics to who was responding to your organic ones.
Yes, it's more about your content and your messaging. Because when it comes to Facebook advertising, the back end of it is horrendous. It's horrible to work with. I don't personally like it. I used to do it for clients before, and I don't do that much anymore. But in terms of like, I say it's horrendous. There's just so many rules and regulations about what you can advertise and what you can't. And it's, you know, if your face is too close to the screen, you know, you're going to put people off, and you can give someone low self-esteem because you're smiling too much. It's like, oh God, come on. Like, so it's very difficult to get it right in terms of advertising, because one little word could completely, you know, screw the ad up, get you banned. And getting banned is a huge thing these days. They just ban anyone nowadays. And, you know, I'm not a huge fan of how they run that side of the business, because I've seen some businesses just get shut down completely, and I don't think it's very fair. But, you know, that's just my opinion.
Well, we had our fair share of that over here last year with, you know, a certain president of ours, you know. So I'm not sure if you've seen any of those headlines over there in England, but, you know, there's a little bit of that censorship kind of thing going on, and it is a battle. And I mean, that's a whole nother show in itself. Maybe I should write that down and have one. But, you know, being a former United States Marine, I am very big on the Constitution and rights and censorship. But at the same time, there's another thing that's called propaganda. So it is kind of a fine line on, you know, what you're putting out there, you know, especially on something like Facebook, right? Because what is it? So many billions of people have it. I mean, it's huge. It's massive. And it's getting in front of a lot of people. So if you are somebody who is a propagandist, is that a word? Propagandist? It is now. But if you're somebody who's trying to do that, what better way? You know, so there is a fine line that needs to be said there. So, anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that. I don't know what direction that falls and what the right answer is. I don't have the right answer. So,
but in terms of politics and, you know, like, issues, stuff like that, I get it completely, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, don't advertise that sort of stuff, or have a very, very strict, tight guidelines to that. But when it comes to promoting things like books or, you know, I have a course, or I want to, who wants to get fit, the censorship on that and the rules and regulations on those types of posts are, they drive me crazy a little bit, because I kind of think it feeds into the way the world is nowadays. It's too PC. And again, probably going down a bit of a rabbit hole with this, but I just feel like the way that they censor some certain things, it just makes you think, like, why? You know, I think.
And you're referring to, like, maybe because, like you said a second ago, like if you're too fit, then you're offending people who aren't fit. That kind of thing, where that cancel culture, if it offends 0.001% of the population.
Don't get me started on cancel culture. It drives me insane.
Well, you know what actually makes me feel a little bit better is I'm talking to somebody who's in England, right? And I'm in the United States in Florida. And you are frustrated by the same things that I'm frustrated by, which, not that that's a good thing, but it makes me feel like it's not an American thing. because that's
No,
how,
it's definitely not.
honestly, that's how I feel. I feel like, my God, we got to be the laughing stock of the world right now because of some of the ridiculousness that's going on. But the whole planet's gone crazy. And God, you know what the worst profession right now has to be? Is comedians. Because your job is to be lighthearted, make fun of literally everybody on the planet, right? As long as you're equal opportunity making fun of people, right?
Yeah.
Then what the hell difference does it make? Have fun with it. And we've gotten to a point to where we can't even laugh about ourselves anymore. I'm short. I'm 5'3". I tell short jokes constantly, right? It's funny. Oh, and if you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at? And we all take ourselves too seriously now. So again, I know a whole nother conversation, but just adding to your point of non-needed censorship in areas where really doesn't matter. Can I not? Hey, if I got a great body, I'm 45 years old, man. I don't have a great body, at least not as great as I'd like. But when I see a guy in an advertisement that has the kind of body I wish I had, I'm not offended by it. I'm just thinking, well, damn, he's doing more work than I am. I could be doing the same darn thing. It doesn't offend me at all. And, just because I want to be something that I'm not, I shouldn't hate somebody who does.
Yeah, exactly.
Does do the work.
And it comes down to also touching on this as well. It's like trolling on social media. When you do get consistent with your content and you start to be seen by more people, you will get trolled. It will happen. But you've just got to, you have to just delete the comment and ignore it and move on. I see so many people getting attacked. I see so many people getting attacked by people that don't even know them, just making their own opinions, and it's got nothing to do with them, and they're just being nasty. I saw a post on Instagram the other day that said, if you got invited around someone's house and you didn't like their decor, or you didn't like the way that they served food, or you didn't like their shoes or their carpet, or you didn't like anything, anything in their house, you wouldn't sit there and tell them that.
Exactly. Yep.
You wouldn't, as you're leaving you can just go, hey, it's getting late. I've got somewhere else to be. I need to go. You leave, but you don't say anything. You don't kick their kid as you walk out the door or take a dump in their shoe. You don't do anything.
The anonymity of the being anonymous online makes people mean, because
Keyboard
they know
warriors.
Nothing's going to happen. But you're right. If you're right in front of somebody and you don't like somebody,
exactly,
you keep it to yourself, because that's the right thing to do. That's the human thing to do.
But people don't get that.
Changes in the future. I mean, because we're kind of talking about some of the changes that have happened and how things have progressed. And we talked about some of the things that are happening now with, some of the censorship and things like that are happening with, the cancel culture or whatever else the factors may be. Where do you see the future heading? Where do you see changes on the horizon? What's going to happen in the future with this? What should we prepare for?
Wow. Well,
get your little magic.
I know. Get my crystal ball out.
Yeah, crystal ball out there.
I think I don't know is the answer. I don't know what's going to happen. However, I do feel that I guess the way that we are online will change. I just don't know how. I know that it's moving more towards video, and I know that it's moving towards like the influencer world. There's so many people these days that are becoming influencers and being sponsored and to do certain things. So in terms of like social media and marketing and things like that, who knows? I know that I personally feel like it's going to get extremely difficult with Facebook. I know that they're introducing something on the 30th of June. They're stopping analytics on your Facebook page. So, and they're removing things and all these different, it just becomes harder and harder and harder.
I just noticed last night that some of the things have moved. It was a new thing, like when you go to your most recent or whatever, now it's not in the same place, and you have to click, I think it's most recent and something else. You click on that, and then it gives you like 3 options at the top for the most popular, the most recent, and they're giving you different options. And I think that's, they have to change with the times as well. And as we know, Mark Zuckerberg has been under fire for the last 2-3 years about privacy issues and things like that. So that's probably where some of those changes are coming from. Do you think that and this is purely a personal opinion. I'm not asking your professional opinion on this unless you want to give me both. Do you feel like Facebook maybe has run its course? Do you think it might be on the downturn now, or do you think they just need to morph and change with the times, and that they're still going to stay at the top of the heap?
I don't think it's going downhill. I think if anything, more and more people are using Facebook, especially groups. There's a lot of group activity going on. People are creating their own groups, trying to create their own communities. They are fighting for the top spot though. Obviously TikTok has taken over massively, and it's become like it grew so quickly 2019, and then 2020 it just obviously blew up because everybody was at home, so more people started creating their own TikToks, and then people are creating. Honestly, the amount of businesses I've seen like just boom from TikTok is absolutely insane.
You know what? Let's do that really quick. I know we're running out of time here, but I want to hit that because I've heard this multiple times. TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, and TikTok, and maybe I'm just not as current on it, but it started out being like this little 15-second clips of people doing choreographed dances to, music, right? And like, moms and daughters doing their thing. And don't make me dance. You don't want to see that. But as far as businesses taking advantage of the popularity of TikTok, what do you do as a business to be able to get on there, get notoriety, and be on the TikTok format?
Honestly, authenticity again. The thing is with TikTok, you can do the trends, but they're not relevant to your business. So if you're just going on there to become TikTok famous, then just go on and do the trends. That's fine. Just go do that. Do what you need to do. And in some cases that works because that strategy gets you loads of followers, and then you can start talking about your own business. But by doing that, you may lose followers because they didn't follow you for that in the first place. So it swings and roundabouts with that. But I've seen so many people just showing up and doing their own little thing. They do their own little talks, however they want to do it. They refine it as they go along. I've watched businesses grow, and they just talk about their own business in their own little way. And some people give like three simple steps or three top tips or whatever to XYZ. And some of those do really well. There's a guy who, I can't remember what he actually does, but he just gives business tips away. And it's super, super, super simple. It just gives one thing away. And then at the end, he has his little catchphrase, and he grew over the last year. And he's now got, I think he's got like 50 to 100,000, between 50 and 100,000 followers. And he is, and I don't mean it's a horrible way, but he's such a down to earth guy. There's nothing outstandish about him. He's not like, oh wow, I need to take notes of this guy. He just came on one day, did his own little thing, grew his channel, and that's it. And, honestly, TikTok is such a great place, especially for podcasts. Oh my God. The amount of podcasts I see on there that do clips of just like, because they record them, like this or actually in the studio, and just take the 15-second clip of something that's interesting, funny, whatever the thing is, and just post it. I've seen radio shows doing it. They record themselves in the studio and they'll just post little off-air sections and doing all these different types of things. So there's no right or wrong with social media. You just got to do what works for you. Eventually you'll find something that will catch fire, double down on that, keep doing more of that content until you grow your follower base. And that's it.
Yeah, because the algorithms change constantly. So once you do catch on to a trend, it's usually gone and past, and you got to move on to the next one anyway. So maybe it's better, just like as in life, just be yourself and create your own trend, and maybe people will follow you instead of the other way around. So
exactly, yeah.
Naomi, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day today. What time is it there in England?
So it's just gone 5 p.m., so nearly dinner time.
We're only about 5 hours apart. It's noon here, so lunchtime for me, dinner time for you. Let's do that thing. If you wouldn't mind, take a minute or two here. Tell the listeners how they can reach out to you, where they can find you, and speak to you more and get more advice from you.
Yeah, sure. So I might have to spell my name out, but if you follow me on Instagram, my name is Naomi_Hyett, which is HYETT. And you can find that name on Facebook as well. So Facebook and Instagram is where I predominantly spend a lot of my time. If you are on TikTok, you'll find me with the same name again. So I'd love another TikTok follower.
Awesome. There we go. That's what it's all about, right? Thank you so much again. I enjoyed our conversation. I look forward to speaking with you soon and seeing you out there.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Naomi. Thank you for joining us this week. Go to our website at thebizreveal.com to catch all of our past episodes. We're available on all podcast apps, or you can watch any of our episodes on the Biz Reveal YouTube channel. I'm Craig Sawyer, and this is the Biz Reveal. Till next time.